Good day everyone, this is Sir Gabs, and today we're going to learn how to install Android Studio on your machine. So basically, what is Android Studio? To learn more about Android Studio, I want you to visit the website developer.android.com, which is this website. So this website is the official website where you can find and download Android Studio and anything about mobile application development. This website is provided by Google. All right, so in the website, I want you to visit the Android Studio menu bar. And then under this menu bar page, I want you to visit the sub-menu user guide. Then in here, you can see the information about Android Studio. So we have it was properly documented in here. So it says that Android Studio is the official integrated development environment for you to be able to develop an Android application. So for the features, you can just read it yourself in here. But today we're going to learn how to install it. Before installing it, before downloading anything, okay, I want you to set up first the requirements. So one of the requirements for us to be able to code an Android application using Android Studio is to have a JDK on your machine. So why we need JDK? We need JDK because we're going to use the Java language to develop our application. So in case that you haven't installed any JDK, so what we're going to do is to visit we're going to search to Google the Java JDK. Okay. Then on the first suggestion of the Google search engine is the oracle.com, which is this is what we want to visit. So Java SE. Then in this website, I want you to click the JDK download. And then in here, the JDK download, you will see the list of available installation package. And we're going to download the Windows 64 installer. It depends on your operating system, such as if you have a Linux, you can download the Linux one. Then if you have a Mac OS, you can download the Mac OS one. So in here, I'm going to click the JDK 15.0.1 to download our application. So in case that it does not start immediately, there might be a pop-up that will ask you to read and accept the license agreement. Of course, just accept it, then click download. So once you finish downloading the JDK, click the installer and install it on your machine. So in my situation, the JDK was already installed, okay, in my machine. But let's see what is going to happen. So I click yes. And then like any other installation wizard, just follow the instruction and accept anything that you can see in the installation wizard. So like this, I'm just going to click the next button. Then by default, I'm going to set this by default. Then click next. And then the installation process will start. All right, so once installed, we're just going to close this window. So after installing the JDK, what we need to do is to set up the environment variable for our machine. So to do that, just click the start button and search for environment variable. So this one. So we want this one. I'm going to minimize this. Then under the window, just click the environment variable button. And then what we need to do, or what we want to do, is to set up a path on the system variables where we can locate the newly installed JDK. So we're going to locate our newly installed JDK. Just go to this PC or your PC, okay, and then go for to the program files folder. And then in here, locate Java. So this is the folder, Java folder. And then inside Java folder, as you can see, I have 2 JDK installed and a JRE. So in the latest JDK, as far as I know, there will be no JRE included, but just ignore it. Okay. So just click the JDK 15 folder. This is the latest, the one that I've installed recently, and then click the bin folder. So what we want here is this one, the path. So just click this and copy. Now go back to the environment variables window, and in here we're going to click the path, then click edit. As you can see, I already have an environment variables for Java, but I want you to create one for the bean. So let's click the new button, then paste the path, then click OK. Aside from the path, I want you to create a Java home variable. So to do that, just click new, and then let's name this capital letter Java home. And then under the variable value, we're going to paste the path, but remove the bin folder. So we only want the root folder of the JDK. And then after that, click OK. And then click OK. And OK. For us to know if the installation was successful, we need to open our command prompt. And in the command prompt, we just need to type Java hyphen version. Then it will display the version of your Java if it was installed. So as we can see, the version was 15.0.1. Also, you can try this command Java C version. So it will display the version only of your JDK. So all right, so the first step was successful. So what we're going to do now is to head back to the developer.android.com website, and then in the Android Studio tab or menu, we need to go to the download, which is by default we're going to be in the sub menu download, and in here you can see the big download button. So download Android Studio. If you can see, currently in this recording, this is 4.1, and the file size is 896 MB. So just click this. Then again, it's up to you if you want to read the disclaimer. Then I'll just accept this to start downloading the application. While it was downloading, how will we know if the specs of our machine can run this application? So I'll just dismiss this for a while. Okay. So under the website, right above the footer, we will see the minimum specification and the recommended specification for your machine to download to make Android Studio working. So for the OS, if you're using Windows, the minimum would be Windows 7. So if you're using a lower version of Windows, I guess it's time for you to change. Then you can see here if you're using Mac and Linux and etc. And then for the RAM, which is this is very important. Why? Because Android Studio eats a lot of RAM. Okay, so that's why according to the website, the minimum RAM of your machine should be 4 GB of RAM. Though I tried to install it on a 3 GB, or I forgot if it's 3, but I know that was less than 4 GB of RAM. I managed to run the Android Studio IDE, but as what I've expected, it's very slow and sometimes it crashes. Okay, so again, for the minimum specification, 4 GB of RAM and 8 GB of RAM for the recommended RAM. So the higher, the better. And then for the disk space, at least you should have 2 GB available disk space, but the higher, the better, because once you install the application, the Android Studio IDE, it will consume more because as you can see under here, it says that 500 MB for the IDE plus 1.5 GB for Android SDK, and then another for emulator and system image. So again, the higher the better. And then for the minimum screen resolution is 1280 by 800. Now let's wait for the application to be downloaded. Alright, so when the download is complete, to install it, just click the installer. By the way, Android Studio is already installed on my machine. So let's see what will happen if there's a duplicate one. Did I click it? Yeah. So again, click run, then it will run the setup just like any other installation wizard. Just do what is told. Yes, I approve. Okay, so this is the Android Studio Setup Installation Wizard. So I want you just to click next. And then in here, choosing components, I want you to leave Android virtual device check. Do not uncheck that, then click next. And then in here, I want you to select a folder where you want to install Android Studio, or if you want to just leave it by default. So just click next. And then in here, I want you to install everything what is listed in here. So just click install. And then after that, the installation procedure will start and wait for it to finish. Once the installation was complete, I want you to click the next button, and then in here, let us start Android Studio by leaving the checkbox Start Android Studio by default, and then click Finish button. And then after that, the Android Studio will show, and then it says that delete unused Android Studio directories. By the way, this only shows because I have a previous version, old version Android Studio installed to my machine. So I'll click this one and then delete directories. So as you can see, that's version 4.0, and the Android Studio that we downloaded, the version is 4.1. Alright, so once you run your Android Studio for the first time, this is what you will see, the welcome screen of the Android Studio. Just ignore the projects that I've created before on the left side. Just focus here on the right side. So by default, you won't see anything, any event right here at the bottom. So this only shows up because I have a previous outdated version of Android Studio installed to my machine. So if you installed a newer version, I suppose there will be no events right here. So what we need to do is to configure our SDK first before we start developing an application. So what is an SDK? So like JDK, Java Development Kit. So SDK is a package or kits where it contains libraries, codes, emulator system images that you will need to use for developing an application. So an SDK can be located in the SDK manager. So once you click that, the configure button and the SDK button, you will see the SDK manager in here. So if you can see, I have some installed SDK already, but I want you to install at least the SDK 8.1 Oreo or the API level 27. By the way, I'm going to explain SDK in further details in different lesson. You can also install the latest SDK if you want the Android R, which is the API 11. So what you need to do to install the SDK, again, my recommendation is the Android 8.1. For example, you're going to install the 7.0 Nougat. So I'm just going to click the check button. And also, I want you to expand the package, so you can just check the show package details. Then if you can see anything under the SDK will be listed. So, for example, I want you to install the Android 7.1.1 Nougat. Make sure that the Android SDK platform was selected, and then the source Android for the source for Android 25. Also, if you can see in my Android 8.1 Oreo SDK, the Google API Intel x86 Atom system image was also installed. So what you want to do is to install this also on the Android 7.1.1 Nougat. So where's that? So this one. Of course, again, as I've said earlier, you can install everything, okay? But what I want you to install is the Android 8.1 Oreo. All right. So then, if you selected that, just click apply, and it will be installed. So if you can see, I have an update in here. So instead of installing or installing a new part of the SDK, I will update my SDK. This is just the same as downloading a new SDK and its components. So again, I'll click apply. And then it will gather package. It will download from the server. So it says that there's the version changes. Okay, I just click OK. And then the components will be downloaded on your machine. Just wait for it to finish and we can continue to the next step. All right, it's done. So once the download was complete, just click the finish button and then click apply. Okay. Also, I want to mention that there are other type of SDK. So currently we're on the SDK platform. So this is a version or Android OS version specific SDK. And there is also the SDK tools, which is not version specific. So I want you to install the Android SDK build tools, Android emulator, Android SDK platform tools, Android SDK tools, and the Intel x86 emulator accelerator Haxam installer. All right. So I want you to install that because those are required. So in my case, I want to update this SDK tool. So I'm going to check that and then check this. Which one needs some update? I'm going to check this and this one. And then again, like the previous step, I want you to click the apply. And then again, it will ask, and then just click OK, so the download will start. And then wait for it to finish. Once you selected the Haxam and the SDK tools have downloaded, and the Haxam was successfully downloaded and being installed, it will ask you to set your emulator. So my suggestion is just to leave the recommended setting or recommended size so that you won't encounter any problem in the future. So what I'm going to do here is just to leave the recommended 2 GB file size and then just click the next button. And then after that, the installation will proceed. Then just accept or just click yes. And then just wait for it to finish. All right, once the Haxam was successfully installed, okay, just click finish, and then we will install or will resume in downloading other platform tools. All right, so this will take a little bit of time. Just wait and chill. All right, it's done already. All right, so just click finish button and then click the apply button. After that, just click OK and everything was set up. Then it says that the Android Studio is refreshing. Let me deal with this event error first. So it says that Android Studio and plugin updates available. So I'll just click this update because we only updated the few components. But let me see. This error should not be showing. Let me restart the Android Studio application. Again, this problem won't show if this is your first time to install the Android Studio. Oh, okay, sorry, let me cancel this. All right. Oh yeah, see, the error was already gone. Why it was gone? Because if you remember, we updated the SDK in the SDK manager. So we updated the SDK platform and the SDK tool. So we downloaded the required SDK. So in our case, or in your case, you downloaded the asset to download 8.1 Oreo. Okay, now let's proceed. Aside from that, we want to ensure that the emulator is going to work with our installation procedure. So what I want you to do is to click the configure button again, and then under the SDK manager, click the Android Virtual Device Manager or the AVD Manager. All right. So once we're here in the Android Virtual Device Manager, we can see the list of virtual machines available in here. So I already created two. So what I'm going to do is to play one of the virtual machines so to check if it's working properly, but I'm going to create later. I'm just going to launch this emulator, and then as you can see it runs. So why it looks like this, later we're going to fix this. What we are going to do, what I want to check here if it's working. So again, so it loads. So I'm going to close this, and later we're going to fix this kind of error. So this is just a display error. So yeah, right. So what I want to do, I want you to do is to create a virtual device by clicking the create virtual device button, and then in here we're going to select a hardware profile. So I'm going to select the pixel tree here, and then I'm going to click next. So in here we were asked to install or to select a system image. So it says that it was recommended by Google to install the system image on this list. So if you can see, there are download buttons available in the list, and the our system image doesn't have because I downloaded it earlier. But what I'm going to use, is the x86 images, which is I'm going to click this tab. And as you can remember earlier, I asked you to download the Android Oreo SDK together with the system image. So if you can see, it was available in here. So just select that if you want to use or you don't want to download another system image because it will take a lot of time. But if you want to use another system image like this Android R, make sure that you downloaded the SDK for Android R also. So there will be no error encountered. So for now, I want you to select the Oreo system image, the previous version that I mentioned you to download, and click next. And then in here, there's the basic setups. So basically, I want you to leave this as default because we're going to discuss this in a future lesson. But for now, I want you to name this, for example, sample VM or sample device, and then click finish. And then our device will be created under here. So it's sample device. So how could we check if there's no error? Of course, we need to run the device. So just click the play button, and then the device or the Android virtual device will run. And then you can see something odd on our emulator. So, sir, why it looks like that? Okay, this is a common error when you are running on a device or a computer that was set with a high resolution and the UI was optimized. So later I'll show you how to fix this. But for now, I will let the emulator to load first, so that we can check if it is really working. Again, this is just a display error, so don't worry. If your display isn't that big, it will be fine. And just wait. All right, so starting, and then we have a brand new smartphone device in here, which is running on Android Oreo. All right, so we can use this like a normal cell phone, of course. So ayan, like that. You click the back button. All right, so I accidentally click the contacts because the button was not optimized because of the display error. So let's go ahead and fix this first. So what we want to do is to close the emulator. All right, and then if you encounter that error, so what you need to do is to go to your desktop and click right click to display the context menu, and then on the context menu select the display settings. All right, so the cause of the error that we've seen earlier is this option. So it says that the scale layout. So the scaling affected our the display of our emulator. So what I want you to do is to bring the scale at least to 125%. Of course, computer will adjust. So as you can see, the interface becomes smaller. Not my preferred interface, but anyway. So once you've done that, let's go back and let us run again. If our emulator can be displayed properly now. If not, we need to select the 100%. So if you can see, the 125% scaling works. So, all right. So we've installed Android Studio and we've managed to make it work. Okay. So since the emulator is running, okay, what we want to test now. So what we want to check next, if we can create a project and we can run an application in our newly installed, in your case, newly installed Android Studio IDE. So what I want you to do is to click the Create Project again. We'll not discuss this in details because we will have a discussion for this matter in the future lesson. So I just want you to select or to follow the procedure that what I'm going to do. So just click the empty activity, click Next. And then this is the default name of your application, and make sure that you selected Java as the default language, and then select the minimum SDK by default. Do not change anything. Again, Again, I will discuss this in the future lesson. So click Finish button, and then the window will appear. All right, then. Once you are here in this Android Studio IDE window, once you created the project, all right, what I want you to do is to wait. Why? So my suggestion is to wait and don't do anything. Don't click anything. Don't do anything until the Gradle, if you can see here at the bottom right, right, is finished building your project. So what's Gradle? I will explain this again. I will explain Gradle in the future lessons. But for now, I want you to let Gradle finish its work first, or else you might encounter some errors, which is I want you to encounter since this is your first time to run Android Studio. And also, if you can see, the interface my Android Studio is very small. I don't know if it is readable because I changed the scaling of my device. So let's wait. I forgot to mention that when you created the new project, you need an internet connection because Gradle will going to download necessary libraries and any components to make your project works. So as you can see, I guess it's done downloading. Now it's configuring the project. One more process. Of course, it will take time. All right, so it's finished. So once it's done, the interface should look like this. I will discuss this in our future lesson. But for now, we can see here on the right side what's new in Android Studio 4.1. So of course, if you want to read that, go read that. But I will suggest you to minimize that. And then let's try to run this default project that we created. So on our emulator. So in here, you can see the list of the devices that we can use. So if you remember, this emulator was named sample device. So just select that and click the play button. Then it will be installed and run in this emulator. Then if it runs successfully, congratulations, we've installed Android Studio properly. All right, so if you can see, our application runs on our emulator. So congrats, it's working properly. All right, so there's an error again that I want to emphasize. In case that you experience an error regarding VTX is disabled in the BIOS, it just means that the option virtualization, of course the VTX, was turned off. by default on your computer. So what you need to do is to go to your BIOS. So it depends on the brand of your computer. So on my computer, I just need to restart my computer. Then once it loads, I keep pressing the delete button until the BIOS boot up. And then in there on the BIOS, I'm just going to look for the virtualization or VTX option. So you can see here, this is the BIOS. Then on the BIOS, we can locate the virtualization technology in here. Then by default, it was disabled. And then what we want to do is to enable it. Again, to run the BIOS, there are different steps based on your device. You should look for it on the internet on how you can enable the BIOS. And of course, this interface is also different from other devices. I just want you to look for the virtualization technology. So that's it. Once you enabled it and then you go back to your Android Studio, all right, the VTX error will be disabled. and that's and that is for our lesson for this session. And see you on the next tutorial.